Hey everybody, Wagwan, Suzette Speaks here. I cannot believe it's been a minute, y'all. Been missing you. I was out of town last week, but here we are today with another fantastic show. We're going to be doing some unpacking of a report from Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. What does that mean? Well, you guys know I represent MIA in the building from Jamaican heritage, but we wanted to actually bring you a little bit of food for thought today because a new report is showing some troubling trends in Miami-Dade. Many of you do have family in South Florida or you live in South Florida where there's a large Jamaican diaspora population. But whether you're watching on my YouTube channel, welcome. Whether you're watching on our sister and a partner for this broadcast, Jamaicans.com, I want to welcome you. I want you to get active in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. And I also would love to introduce you to two fantastic experts from Miami who are going to be talking about some trends they found in a recent study. I also want you to go to Jamaicans.com. We've been highlighting the best of Jamaica, and it's a survey that's letting you tell us what are the most fantastic food, spots, restaurants, locations, all that good stuff. Best of Jamaica is going on right now. The survey is live on Jamaicans.com, so you can check it out anytime you're ready, or if you're on our listserv, you'll get a Survey Monkey, and you can fill it out. But like I said, today I have two fantastic experts I'm going to bring into the conversation. They are from, again, the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. And this specific entity was created to look at trends that affect Black Miami-Dade, right? All those who are part of the Black diaspora, whether it's economics, education, what happens with our youth, they keep track to make sure the county knows what's going on. So I'm going to ask my expert to come through. Jordan, how are you? I want to welcome you. And first and foremost, I want to have you introduce yourself. And I also want Marcus, Dr. Marcus Bright, who's been on before, to come through and let us know a little bit about themselves and what they've been working on in this new study that has just been released, y'all, that we want to make sure we let you know what's going on in Miami-Dade. So who wants to go first? Dr. Marcus? Or should I? No, ladies first. Ladies first. How are you, Jordan? Good morning.
Hi, my name is Jordan Pate Garrett. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, but I serve as the youth services coordinator with MDEAT, or the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. So I just run the day-to-day operations of the youth services division. That includes teen court, our career pathways, some of the new initiatives that we have going on as it relates to this study, and some fun, any other fun things that we have going on in the youth services division.
Fantastic. And to you, Dr. Marcus Bright.
I think that my colleague Jordan Pate Garrett said it best. Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust has a mission of ensuring the equitable economic participation of Blacks in Miami-Dade County, and we are both a part of a tremendous team overall, but then specifically in the Youth Services Department, and we are primed to make history. We believe that this is a historic time, and we will not snooze and miss this policy moment as it relates to our young people.
Fantastic. Well, you jump right into it. I want to make sure, though, for those who are watching in South Florida or Team Replay, hit the like button, share, comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I also want to ask you about an event before we get into the study that you guys have coming up next week. So if you're in the area, South Florida, November 9th, who wants to take that? November 9th at Florida Memorial University. What event do you have coming up?
November 9th, Florida Memorial University, the School to Prison Pipeline Symposium, Part 2. The role of economics will be examining the intersection between economics and the school to prison pipeline and broader mass incarceration epidemic. We had part 1 on October 5th at St. Thomas University, and we have been keeping the heat on this issue, and we don't feel no ways tired. So again, November 9th, 5:30 p.m., Florida Memorial University. Meet us there. Hashtag policy action now. Now is the time.
So we have an upcoming event November 9th, but we also want to get into the study that was recently published with a joint effort, University of Miami and the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, MDEAT. So tell us, what did the study find? What information did we gain from this new study? Go ahead, Jordan, you can start. Or Marcus, you can start.
Well, this study, okay, Marcus.
Dr. Marcus, go ahead. Sorry, I want to make sure.
Okay, well, I'll give you the highlights, and then Jordan can clean it up. We recently partnered, as you mentioned, with the University of Miami, the Department of Education and Human Development, some tremendous researchers, Dr. Todd Warner, and a great team to produce a report that was entitled Trends in Youth Arrest in Miami-Dade County from 2010 to 2022. And if you just look at 2022, and this pattern pretty much holds up throughout the entirety of the study, Black youth made up 17% of the youth population in Miami-Dade County and 63% of the arrests. Black boys made up 9% of the youth population, 52% of the arrests. I'm talking about 2022. This shows tremendous disproportionality in terms of our young people being arrested. And it provides evidence that the school to prison pipeline and mass incarceration epidemic is alive and well. And it's an issue that we must address and that we must have policy action now to address. Jordan?
And you know what we found isn't new. The information isn't new. We know that youth are being arrested at disproportionate rates, specifically Black youth. But this time and in this moment, as Marcus said, we cannot hit the snooze button any longer. We have to ensure that this report doesn't just sit on the walls or the shelves or individuals who need to make the changes. This time we took the initiative to create some policy recommendations, and we are going headstrong, trying to ensure that we get the support that's needed so that there's a lasting change in Miami-Dade County.
This is important information, y'all. Hit the like button. Again, we're looking at trends, and thank you to the MDEAT along with the University of Miami for doing the research so that we have numbers to back up what in fact is a huge issue. And again, just to highlight what Dr. Marcus just said, we are looking at numbers in terms of the population of youth in Miami-Dade County. We know that Black population is not it's not trending upward, it's trending downward. Black people are moving out of Miami. That's a whole nother show. But among the youth, the arrest rate is disproportionate to the population. So we see in Miami-Dade schools, I'm sure I want to get into kind of the having a police officer within your school and how that has changed trends on arrest of young people. But we see that Black youth make up a disproportionate amount of those arrests. So what happens when students get a record? What happens to their lifetime trajectory from getting into college and onward? It affects our entire community. So that's what we're talking about today. And we want to make sure we bring this type of information to the community. So Marcus, why do you think the findings are so significant?
Well, you hit on it right there when you mentioned youth getting a record. And it's hard to participate economically when you have that criminal record that authorizes you to be discriminated against for the rest of your life. The scholar Michelle Alexander called it the new Jim Crow. And so we are dead set on creating policies or creating an environment where policy advancement can be made in areas like early education. So there is a clear link between literacy and the school to prison pipeline and the broader mass incarceration epidemic. Close to 70% of prison inmates cannot read above a fourth grade level. 85% of juveniles that come in contact with the juvenile justice system are functionally low literate. We know that third graders who can read fluently are 6 times more likely to graduate high school, and high school dropouts are 5 times more likely to be arrested. And so we know that early education, we need action in early education. We have proposed, we recommend early learning for all. If you're listening, hashtag early learning for all, early learning for all. We need a universal public option for early learning coverage because too many of our young people are beginning their educational journey. They're coming into kindergarten already behind, and then they stay behind by the third grade when they're supposed to be reading to learn, and then the gaps exacerbate where we have many of our high schools with 70 and 80% of young people not reading on grade level. So we need a universal public option for early learning. We're in the most unaffordable area in the country in terms of housing, in terms of the cost of living, and then what people make. So people just don't have the discretionary income to be able to put their children. Too many of us don't have the discretionary income to be able to put our children in high quality early learning environments. And then, quite frankly, there aren't enough high quality early learning environments. We need a complete revamp of the system, and we need action on that now.
Absolutely. Well, I am here again, you guys, talking with members of the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, their staff, and they're talking about a recent report that just was released when it comes to our youth and what we can do to help reverse the trend of what we're seeing. Our Black youth are making up disproportionate amounts of arrests in Miami-Dade, and we're talking about the significance of that and what can be done about that. We also will have next year, Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust will be doing a housing forum because we're going to talk about affordability of housing. This trust does so much when it comes to the economics of Black folks in Miami. So you want to look them up. You want to get familiar with what they're doing in terms of their work. Marcus, I want to ask you, can you provide more information about this collaboration when it comes to the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust and the University of Miami School of Education and Human Development's Community and Educational Wellbeing Research Center, CEWRC, in producing this report? Talk a little bit more about that for us.
Well, we've been working together for over a year to produce the report. And now that the report is here, as my colleague, Ms. Pate Garrett mentioned, we have to do something with it. And now is the time for action. And she is a specialist in the mental health area. And one of the recommendations that we put forward is for there to be in legislation, a mental health coordinator in every school. We know that, and we want to give credit to the Miami-Dade County Public School System. They have made tremendous strides, but we want that to be cemented in policy. It's almost like the Emancipation Proclamation during the Civil War was an executive order. But if you don't have the 13th Amendment passed, if you don't have legislation passed, when Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Johnson could have put us back into slavery. So we need legislation, and I'll kick it, I'll push it over to
I'll hand off to Jordan, because Jordan, I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you talk about alternatives to putting children in what is literally the legal system, Jordan, talk about programs like Teen Court, right? And I know you guys also have something called pathways, career pathways, and other alternatives. A lot of times I feel like we're criminalizing children before they're even, self-aware to understand who they are. Right, they are in a developmental stage, and I'm talking to the clinical psychologist here, or person who has that type of body of knowledge. I'm not the expert, but I know that brains are growing, they're learning, and we're not doing the best job ever of kind of putting the tools in place to make sure the development is happening, as opposed to criminalizing behavior. So talk about Teen Court for me and other programs that you have, as Dr. Marcus mentioned, that are alternatives to criminalizing our youth.
So first, I do want to say that we didn't just sit in our county government tower and create these policies with our knowledge. We actually, once the report was created, we sat down and had meetings with community leaders, past teachers and principals, police officers who are actually in the field, and police departments, just to get their insight, because we didn't want to just create something and not get those voices of the people who interact with these children every day, or are a part of that impact that leads them to a possible system. Now, I love Teen Court, but Teen Court is an intervention. What our report showed is that there is a need for prevention. Before you even get to Teen Court, there needs to be a solution or something to intervene before the youth can even make it that far. Teen Court is a great program. It is a second chance initiative, a diversion program. However, in order to get to Teen Court, a youth, 9 times out of 10, they have been arrested, put in handcuffs, sent to the jack, gone through some type of processing with county government, with the juvenile services department, and then sent to us. So through certain initiatives, the one I can't speak on now is our student court initiative that we're recently launching with 10 strategic schools throughout Miami-Dade County, from the north to the south. That is a prevention program. So with low-level offenses that occur in the school environment, kids are now being empowered to see certain school-based behaviors and intervene at that level, but prevent from an initial contact with the juvenile justice system. We do have some other programming that we're rolling out that deals with the economic pieces and the long-term advantages for sustainability in Miami-Dade County, but I don't want to touch on those yet.
I know you're getting deep. I'm appreciative. Y'all hit the like button, please. Like, comment, share. I see you guys coming in. Hey, Miss AKA Lady. Hey, Damon Blissett. Hey, RM. Everybody in the chat, what's up? Thank you. Jamaicas.com. If you're watching on that platform, say what's up. It's good to see you too. DL Saint in the building says, great to see you, sis. Congratulations on the event. Yeah, I had a little bit going on. Politicking. Let's go. Networking, social, connecting professionals, with their leaders. Fantastic. Thank you for that comment, DL. Always a pleasure to have you on, and grateful that you're here. I'm talking with Dr. Marcus Bright and Jordan Pate Garrett. They are working with Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. An amazing and very insightful and revealing report just came out. We wanted to bring it to you first here on the Suzette Speaks show, talk a little bit about the implications of what they found. Now, Jordan was just giving us some background as to, yeah, teen court is great, but they've already been touched by law enforcement. By the time a child is arrested, put in the back of a police car, the psychological damage is already being done. So yes, we want to have this diversion program, which once they get there, hey, we're not going to send them to juvenile detention. We're going to find a program that can help them mental health wise or otherwise. But we don't want them to be locked up in the handcuffs at 9 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old to create the psychological damage from early. That's the issue. So I want you to also get into the Career Pathways program. What is that program about?
So our career pathways, we were seeing teen court students or individuals, participants, maybe 3 to 6 months. We would keep track of you, and then you were done. And we didn't know where those kids were going afterwards. So with the switch in our directorship, they wanted to track you longer term. So to do that, we wanted to ensure we did something that wasn't just, hey, how are you? Are you still in school? Where are you at now? So youth, once they finish the teen court program, they are transitioning to career pathways. And through career pathways, they meet with our training specialist and success coach, and they get job readiness training. So they get the soft skills, they get the hard skills, they leave with a resume. And even if they haven't had a job yet, that we put their volunteer service hours on there. We take them through a course of life skill courses that are tailored to their unique needs, and just ensure that they have some of those skills and things that they need to just kind of be successful as they move into adulthood, or just as they move, as they begin to identify who they are and where they want to go in life.
That's wonderful. So we need those programs, especially since they're already moving in one direction because of the current situation. I want to get into solutions. Dr. Marcus, I'm going to bring you back to ask you about what are the recommendations. Now we know that there's an issue that we are seeing young Black youth face more criminalization than their counterparts in Miami-Dade County. So let's talk about the solutions. What are we asking for? What is MDEAT advocating for in terms of changes that can be instituted so that we can correct this issue?
Well, for one, it's not just enough, we believe, to disrupt the school to prison pipeline, but we must build new pipelines of preparation and a prosperity. And that includes, one of our recommendations are the students would graduate not just with an academic traditional diploma, but with an industry recognized credential, either in a trade or in one of the high wage industries like tech. And so that will require the removing of roadblocks and really beginning and realigning curriculum starting in middle school, where students can tap into their purpose, tap into what they're interested in, but come out of high school certified to be a mechanic, certified in coding or Python or JavaScript or some industry recognized credential where they can be immediately economically viable, and so that they aren't graduating not certified to get what they need in life and being mass marketed all these material items without a skill set to go get it. So that's one. We need a tech credential or healthcare or some kind of industry recognized credential or trade in addition to your academic diploma. You shouldn't be in school for 13 years and come out qualified to do absolutely nothing. Number two, we need non-police first responder units be funded as pilot programs. So there should be not all the calls that the police get, law enforcement officers should not be deployed to all of these calls. To the majority of the calls, you can send a team of mental health counselors, of social workers, maybe accompanied with a law enforcement official. But you're feeding the mass incarceration epidemic when you're sending law enforcement officers to do things that they're not really professionally trained to do. So let's let the pros be pros, and create systems, create processes, create procedures where pros can be pros, and we'll all be better off with that kind of outcome.
Thank you for highlighting some of those ways in which we can try to reverse this trend. Thank you for also mentioning that a lot of issues that we see with our young people are rooted in mental health, right? Mental wellness. And I want to go back to Jordan. I know you have seen, working with MDEAT, all of the programs that you have mentioned before. Talk about the trends in mental health and what other resources we can apply here. What are the services like? Because again, young people, need support, not to be criminalized. And again, if we're starting them in that track this young, we know what the outcomes are going to be. So let's talk about the mental health piece and what we can be doing to help support our youth in high school, in middle school, in elementary school when it comes to mental health services.
If you know Miami-Dade County, we have a wealth of community-based organizations that service youth, and they all do a great job. Most of them are targeted towards the mental health aspect of it, but what we're seeing is just like you said earlier, Suzette, trends in identity issues, a spike in depression, a spike in anxiety specifically, and that's why another one of our policies that we are advocating for is to have a mental health coordinator, a licensed mental health professional in schools, and that has to be in legislation. In legislation now is that an SRO or a school resource officer is mandated to be in every school. However, when that law was created, they didn't have these inner city schools in mind with children who have experiences with law enforcement outside of that system and their negative experiences. If these children have seen these police officers in their neighborhoods antagonizing them or treating their family and friends differently, their fathers differently, when they go into the school system, they're going to have that same perception of them. So we need to ensure that in legislation that, yes, an SRO needs to be there for safety reasons. However, a mental health coordinator or licensed mental health professional needs to be there as well for those individuals to target those specific issues and ensure that they are being treated with a level of grace and a level of unbiased as it relates to how they're interacting and being engaged in the school system. As well as another policy that we're advocating for is an interrogation policy that says that youth and their parents cannot waive their Miranda rights if they are under the age of 15. It was done in another state and it's been successful. But like as Marcus said, when we come to identify what the literacy rates are, individuals who are not used to legal terms such as Miranda or what it means as it relates to the amendments, they might just waive those rights arbitrarily, not knowing what they really mean. Especially as well in Miami, we have a high immigrant population, so the language barrier. So we
children are waiving Miranda rights. Like, can we get some Supreme Court legislation on that? Like, what's going on here?
So the policy recommends that they cannot waive their Miranda right. Neither them nor their parent can waive it until they have spoken with some legal counsel.
Yes. I love those policy recommendations. Let's get to work on that. So when we're talking to people who are watching from home, again, hit the like button, y'all. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting. Even if after the show, comment, share, and you can reach out to MDEAT if you have questions on how you can get involved. That's my next question, because people are going to watch, and especially those here in Florida. We know we got a lot going on. It's political season. How do we get our community stakeholders? I'm talking about families. I'm talking about people who care about the community, people watching who are saying, oh my gosh, what can we do? What do we tell them so that they can become more involved and active in creating a solution for the youth arrest problem?
Well, none of these policy recommendations that we recommended, or even others that your listeners may have, will be possible if we don't make it important, if we don't dramatize and highlight and build a sustained movement around the importance of this issue. Everyone listening, you have a member of Congress representing you, you have state representatives and state senators, you have county commissioners, you have municipal leaders, you have mayors, you have policymakers at every level. You have school board members that you can reach out to. You can let them know that this issue is important. You can hashtag and tweet them early learning for all, hashtag early learning for all. This should be a dominant issue in the next election. This should be a dominant issue of discussion. We have to really elevate, highlight, continue to push forward and break through all of the distraction we have. We live in an era of massive distraction. We're in the middle of football season. You got Jada Pinkett Smith. You got what's going on in the Middle East. You got
so much going on. Everybody else is demanding our attention.
You got people arguing about Cheesecake Factory and all this other stuff. We need to be discussing this issue. We must stop the new Jim Crow. We galvanized and we ended slavery. We ended the old Jim Crow. The challenge of our generation is the school to prison pipeline and the mass incarceration epidemic. We cannot let it advance to the next generation. So if you're looking, if you have a son, you have a daughter, you have a niece, you have a nephew, you should look at them and say, I will deal with this. I will not punt it to the next generation as it has been punted to us. It stops right here. We're going to deal with it. We will not quit. We will not get tired of waiting on us to give up. We will not give up. The status quo will not win, but we will make history in this generation.
I'm grateful that you guys are not only highlighting, but are the stopgap. Right, here's the information, Miami-Dade. Here's the information, like it's in your face. You can't ignore it. You have to do something about it. And I'm grateful for the work that the MDEAT does. Jordan, final comments from you. What would you say? Community members, people who are watching, how do we get involved? How do we contact you guys? If there are any other recommendations, again, you guys can find the report, I'm sure, on MDEAT's website. Again, they're making efforts to try to rectify the racial disparities in youth arrests. Report in full is available for you guys to read and review to understand what's the problem. So again, we can get on our public officials to help create the solution. More mental health counselors, not just a school resource officer, because we know what officers are trained to do. They're trained to arrest, and they're trained, to I would say the word is safety, and how they define safety is very different from a child who is in distress or a child who's suffering from mental health issues and other, as Jordan pointed out, other interactions with police. It's not always the best first responder that we need. So final comments from you, Jordan. What would you tell folks who are watching and concerned and want to get involved? How can they do that?
Similar to Marcus, in the distraction era, and we have to remain a solidified unit. For so long, we've been divided, but here is the time where we must be a community. Further, as it relates to mental health, listen to your kids, listen and watch for those little things that may seem off about them, because something has changed. Whether they're saying it or not, you know your child best. So just listen and monitor and watch. And I'm sure with the proper support, they will show you or tell you what's going on in their lives. And you can reach out to us further at Miami-Dade.gov / Economic Advocacy Trust, or check us out on Instagram and any of our social media, Facebook at MDEAT Info. That's MDATINFO. And that's on Instagram and Facebook. And you can always contact our offices, which is on the county site as well.
Thank you. I want to thank my special guest today, Jordan Pate Garrett, Dr. Marcus Bright. Thank you for the work that you're doing on behalf of the community here in Miami-Dade County. Again, all lives matter, but we want Black lives, especially as we're seeing in these reports, these disturbing numbers and these trends to change. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Keep up the good work, y'all. Make sure y'all check them out. If you're in the Miami area, November 9th, mark that date. Florida Memorial University, they have a big event coming up. Again, go to the website and you can look up MDEAT, Miami-Dade Economic, if I can get it out, Advocacy Trust, and look at the wonderful work they're doing. Thank you. Juliet says, thank you guys for the great information. Everybody watching, Jamaicans.com, thank you so much for always being there for us and allowing us to bring this information to the people. I know this is heavier stuff, but we got to pay attention. As they said, what's the hashtag once more, Dr. Bright?
Early learning for all. We'll see you November 9th, Florida Memorial University. We will not snooze and miss this policy moment.
Absolutely. Thank you. Early learning for all. Damon says, keep fighting the good fight. Good trouble. Let's go. We are on the front lines for our community here in Miami. Thank you, Jamaicans.com. Thank you again, Dr. Bright. Thank you, Jordan. And we appreciate you guys. We'll have you back. Again, we'll look for more information on this study. You guys can go there. Thank you, RM. One of my fantastic moderators has their website up. Again, Miami-Dade.gov. And then you can look up MDEAT. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe and share. Make sure you share. Again, Jamaicans.com, always a pleasure. and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. And you can follow me. Oh, yes, RM. Thank you for getting me right on all social media. Suzette Speaks. Check out the pictures from my fantastic event I hosted this week called Politicking, a Networking Social. We're getting us together. 2024 is such a big year. Connecting people to their leaders is the theme. And we had a fantastic turnout, almost 70 people for my first one. And we had, I think, 3 state House representatives, 6 different city commission and councils represented throughout South Florida. And we're building that because we want people to have, is what they just talked about, direct access to their leadership, right? And what's going on, good information for how they can help change trends that they care about in their community and hold their electeds responsible. So we appreciate you watching. Thank you, guys. Happy Saturday. I'll see you next week. Take care.